These are the images taken before the election, showing Labour frontbenchers, including our current Prime Minister, pledging unequivocal support for calls for compensation to millions of so-called WASPI women affected by the rise in the state pension age.
So the controversy surrounding all of this started when it was decided to bring women's state pension age of then 60 up and in line with men's who received their pension at 65.
Now, that was due to be phased in gradually between 2010 and 2020, but the coalition government decided to force it through a lot quicker than that, to come in by 2018.
Now, campaigners say the 3.6 million women born in the 1950s were not properly informed of the age change when it was maladministration, basically, leaving many desperately trying to plug the gap caused by those lost pension payments.
Now, they appear to have full support from what we all knew was the government in waiting. The Work and Pension Secretary, Liz Kendall, though, said yesterday, now that they're in government, that they'd looked at the figures and the estimated cost of compensation would be up to £10.5 billion, which she now says wouldn't be a fair use of taxpayers' money.
Well, former head teacher joins us now, and she's a WASPI campaigner, Frances Neal. Now, good to speak to you. I imagine you're rather peeved this morning, to say the least, about all of this, because you've been campaigning for so long for it. But let's just take Liz Kendall, the Work and Pension Secretary's point, that we know that taxpayer money is hard-won and has to stretch very far now. Why is it right that £10.5 billion of it should go to you, do you think?
Well, they've found that there is an injustice now. There was maladministration and the government should pay reparation for that. It significantly affected the lives of 3.8 million initially. Round about 200, 300,000 have died, so it's now 3.6. And they have suffered an injustice.
Your own story is extraordinary, isn't it? Because you were there working as a head teacher, thinking about when you might retire.
Yep.
Probably, not every day, maybe on a Monday morning.
Well, and making plans.
And making plans, yeah. How did you learn yourself about this change?
A member of my staff went to a local authority information session about an upcoming budgetary decisions for a new financial year decisions, and when she came back, she asked to see me privately. And people only usually do that because either they're pregnant or they're leaving.
Right, OK.
So, and I was a bit worried, but she said, this actually, before we tell the staff, this affects you personally and privately, and I didn't know if you knew, I don't think you do, that your state pension age is now going to be 62, 63, depending on the month of your birth. And we know that you've been making plans to work with governors for a new head teacher to be appointed in the fullness of time, and wanted you to know before you resigned that this was going to affect you.
And I bet that hit you like a bolt from the blue at the time, didn't it?
After that, I did receive a letter, but it wasn't until after that, and I was 59.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
So suddenly your plans had to...
Oh, yes.
How did it affect you financially? Because it's been very difficult for a lot of people.
As a teacher of some years' experience, so obviously I had my workplace pension, which a lot of women won't have.
Yes.
Well, be relying entirely on their state pension, and I was fortunate that I had my workplace pension. However, it would have been a payment of around about £600 a month, which is not to be sneezed at. And it's our family circumstances are that I was the wage earner and the income producer, so it was going to have an effect. So I delayed my retirement to 62 and a half, and had told my governors I was going. My health had started to fail. I was caring for my very elderly parents at the same time, and it was a lot of stress. So I felt that the best thing for the community was that they had somebody new. So I then retired, took my teacher's pension, thank you very much. I paid in for 34 years.
Yes.
Then started to look at claiming my state pension, to be told by a local WASPI group that I did join that it was going to be 63, then 65.
That far from that, you weren't going to get a brass farthing, none of you, not a halfpenny, nothing. What did you think?
Oh, it's a betrayal, isn't it?
Did you expect? Did you see it coming?
No, and I don't believe that the WASPI board knew either. And interestingly, a quick conversation with Rebecca Long-Bailey yesterday, the all-party parliamentary group didn't know either.
So this came as a second bolt from the blue.
Yes, and it's dreadful.
What would you say to Sir Keir Starmer if he was sitting at the end of the desk here this morning?
That the government department made a mistake and there needs to be reparation for that. People paid in, had been told and were expecting their pension at a certain age for whole of their working life. And then it was changed. And the DWP's own investigation, I believe, showed that 3 out of 5 didn't know, women affected didn't know. Where their figures come from, I have no idea.
Do you feel in any way used, that the campaign was used, that you were getting all that support, they were riding on the coattails, if you like, of the campaign, saying, yeah, you're absolutely right, we're with you, trust us, when we get in government, we will sort this out, and now this has happened. You must feel a bit used.
Oh, we do feel betrayed. Absolutely devastated. I mean, people at first were upset on the social media that we have. Our group people were very upset. Now they are furious.
I bet
absolutely
they are.
Devastated.
Now,
very
the Parliamentary
angry.
and Health Service Ombudsman, Rebecca Hilsenroth, has been speaking this morning and said, you know, acknowledged some good things that the government's saying that the intervention by the Ombudsman will lead to service improvements. But, says, what we didn't expect and don't expect is for an acknowledgement to be made by a public body that it's got it wrong, but then refuse to make it right for those affected. Is there anywhere you can go now?
Well, I don't think it's closed. WASPI's not going to, you know, curl up and go away. We have a very excellent campaign going. We have good people. We have people supporting us. And I think it's now for WASPI to come together and decide where it goes.
One of your spokeswomen said, we carried the clip earlier, the thing is, though, we're all getting older. We're all going to start dying. And maybe that's what the government's waiting for.
Yes, and unfortunately, many of us have died already, and you know, but their families are really watching and hoping that you know, those of us who are left would carry on the fight. The thing is, you know, one of the cornerstones of Labour Party's election was support for women and girls. Well, obviously, they only mean the girls and women to come. They're not supporting us who have helped build and pay for the nation. Yeah. But now we have almost a WASPI group in every constituency. We have 300 to 350 MPs across parties supporting us, signed the pledge and have been saying that they don't agree with this, and we're now looking for them to come together as a group across the House, because the Parliamentary Ombudsman made it quite clear that this is a decision for Parliament, not just the government. Now, the government has made its decision, but Parliament now has the say and the debate. Possibly, we have a petition that's met the criteria for a debate to be held, and now we're looking for them to come together and fight our corner.
So that's one to watch. We just got a comment from a statement from Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall. She said she believes it's the right course of action. She knows that many 1950s born women will be disappointed. I suspect with you that's an understatement, but she says that she believes it's the right decision and the fair decision, but it sounds like you will not be leaving it there.
Oh, no.
Well, it sounds like you're like sort of wasps, to use the word, at a picnic. You won't be swatted away, will you? You
know, we didn't go into this lightly. We knew there was going to be a fight, but we think we've got our ducks in a row and we think that we've got the evidence that we need, but we are working now to look at the future and see what we can do.
Thank you very much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for your interest in the campaign.
Thank you.